So here are 6 different slope fields. Here are 6 different differential equations. We want to match these up. So here's the strategy you're going to use. Your strategy find where the slope field equals 0. That means dy over dx equals 0. Find where the slope field is positive. That means dy over dx is positive. Find where the slope field is negative. That means dy over dx is negative. And lastly, find where slope field is undefined. That means dy over dx is undefined. Okay, that's our strategy. What I would do actually is let's actually take a look at the differential equations. Let's look at the first one. Dy over dx equals x minus y. So deliberately replace that with 0. Dy over dx replaces to 0. So then is it x equals y. I'm going to do that for actually each of these right now. Here, this means that y will equal -1. Here, this means x will equal 0. Here, this means x will equal -y. Here, this means x will be at like pi over 2, 3 pi over 2, and so on, ... And here, this means y will be 0 and 3. That's one thing you'll want to do to make your life much easier when you're doing these kind of problems. It also would help to kind of tell if it could be undefined or where they're positive or negative. So question in the chat. What does number 4 say? So that's a 0, right? Number 4, that's a 0, and x equals 0. So if you let dy over dx be 0, then therefore x must be 0. So it means you're going to have horizontal slopes, right? Because when dy over dx, that's the slope of the tangent line, right? When that's 0, the slope of the then the slope of the tangent line is 0, right? When dy over dx is 0. So for number 1, I didn't really think this one through. With goodness, let's do this. Let's see if I could select. Ooh, let's do. Whoa, what am I doing? I've never done this before. It's crazy. Let me do that for now. Just hide it. Okay. I can expand that later. So remember, we wanted x equal y for number 1. When x equals y, like at 1, 1, 2, 2, we want a 0 slope. So I kind of see that happening probably over here. And just to be sure, if dy over dx equals x minus y, like for example, notice that these are positive slopes here. Well, x over here is probably 3, and y is probably 1. 3 minus 1 is 2. That makes sense. That looks like a slope of 2 to me right here. Whereas over here somewhere, if I plug in -1 and 4 for y, so -1 plus, say -1 minus 4, yeah, that looks like a negative slope to me. Yeah, okay, that looks good to me. So I'm feeling good about this. So I would say 1 is definitely going to be F. And I'm actually going to erase this because I kind of know what's going on now with all that stuff. So I'd say 1 is F. Now for number 2, the difference equation number 2 was 1 plus y. Remember, that's when y equals -1. When y equals -1, our dy or dx is 0. So when y equals -1, our dy or dx is 0. Well, if I look carefully, oh, boom, there you go. When y is -1, my dy or dx is totally 0 right there. Also, dy or dx equal y plus 1, right? So if I plug in values bigger than -1 for y, like say 0 for y, or 2 for y, or 3 for y, and x doesn't matter because we don't have an x involved, so x is independent in this differential equation here. But if I let y be less than -1, like -2 or -3, then that's they're all negative, right? In this case, it's going to be d. For number 2, the slope field for number 2 is going to be d. Because I looked at where dy or dx is 0, and of course, where and I kind of looked at positive and negative values. So 1 is F and 2 is D. What I'm going to have you guys do in the breakout room is try to do 3, 4, 5, 6 on your own. See what you guys get. If you finish that early, then go ahead and start worksheet 8 and draw the slope fields for 1 and 2 and 4. And then there's some initial value problems here. And of course, the worksheet will be part of the homework too. So anyway, let's have you guys go to breakout rooms. We'll do it for about 10 minutes and we'll come back. So try the last 3, 4, 5, 6 on the last page of the 7-1 notes. And also, if you finish that before the breakout session's over, try worksheet 8 as well, the other problems here. And I'll kind of quickly give you the sketches for these so you know how they're supposed to look. All right, so let me go ahead and stop recording.